Warning! This video was filmed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember to stay at home as much as possible. Maintain social distancing of up to 2 meters apart when meeting people. Continue to wash your hands regularly. And most importantly, wear a face mask while outdoors in public places. Stay alert. Control the virus. Stay safe. From everyone at Jackpot Button Lewis Productions. That's looking pretty good, that. Yeah. Something missing, though. I've got to the bit with Jim Hawkins and Long John Silver. There's something missing. Whoa! Goodness me. It's pretty rough on the seas tonight. Whoa! Oh! Great Scott, that was close. Oh. Thank God that my ink pot didn't spill over all my work. Oh, dearie me. Hang on a minute. What's this? This must have been down here quite a long time. Something with a band around it. I wonder what this could be. Well, there's only one way to find out. Oh my God! This looks like a map to a particular island. Treasure Island. Of course! This can only mean one thing. There must be treasure at this island. And look! X marks the spot. Right there, right there. Ha-ha! Oh my goodness me. Oh my word. This could be something truly extraordinary. I need to find out where this place is. The Dean's Gardens, Ely, Cambridgeshire. Hang on a minute. We're actually sailing there right now. I've got to let my cabin know. I've got to let my cabin crew know anything about this. We need to change course and sail straight to this island. I've got to let them know right now. All hands on deck! Quickly! I've got some very important news to tell you all. Guess what I just found in my carbon quarters? You wouldn't believe this. I found this piece of paper. Now most of you do not know what it is, but let me tell you something. It could be something we seriously have been missing out on for quite a while. I know most of you cannot see because maybe you might be having eye patches, but look at this. You see that? Right in front. This is a treasure map. And this goes to an island simply known, it's little well known, but it's an island known as Treasure Island. And I know that I wrote this novel all these years ago, but someone has managed to find it. I know this must have been one of my inspirations to write the novel, but I know one of my characters of Jim Hawkins in the novel has managed to even have a very similar map to this. And I need to find out if he might be trying to go to the same island, just the same as what's on this map right here as well. So, to all of you, there's going to be a change of course. All we need to do is now then sail straight to Treasure Island. And to be more specific, it's at the Dean Gardens in Ely. I know it might sound strange for it being an island, but this is a grass island. And this is where a specific, of course, amount of treasure is going to be located. Because look right here. X marks the spot. This could be a place where some very, very valuable treasure could be. So, like I said, I want you all to change the sails and also lift them up and also get on the wheel. We need to sail immediately all the way straight to Treasure Island. Is that understood? Okay, get in your positions. Oh my goodness. I may have wrote the novel all these years ago, but Jim Hawkins, John Silver, and all of those other characters I wrote in the novel have come back to life for this very special, of course, day. And I want to find the treasure with them. So without further ado, well, I'll keep this safe, but without further ado, it's time to change course and also set sail as we head onwards and upwards to Treasure Island!
Yo, hee, hee, a pirate gang is the life for me. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee, setting sail for the seven seas. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee, a pirate gang is the life for me. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee, setting sail for the seven seas. Setting sail for the seven seas. Setting sail for the seven seas.
Ha ha ha! Ahoy there, shipmates! All you cutthroat pirates and swashbuckling buccaneers out there, hello everyone, and welcome to the return of my theatre blog series of Theatregoing. But as you do know, at the moment in the coronavirus pandemic, since a lot of theatres have been closed, I have adapted the title of my theatre blog series for you all and renamed it temporarily as TheatreSocialDistancing. But for any of you who don't know who I am your Captain Jack Wright, also known as Jackpot Button Lewis on YouTube here. And once again, welcome to the return of my theatre blog series of Theatregoing. Now, you might be wondering if, of course, this is a spin-off series to my theatre blog series of Theatregoing. It isn't. Like I just said, this is a temporarily, of course, new title for my show to reflect on what's been going on over the last few months or so during this, of course, COVID-19 pandemic and since the outbreak of coronavirus that happened over 6 months ago. And for most of you who may not know, it has been affecting a load of things, but the most important thing that has been affecting is the theatre industry, and loads of theatres have had to be closed because of that, because of the amount of money that they've have to keep, of course, running, and unfortunately they haven't got that because of, you know, the revenue, and the business is starting to fall a little bit more on, of course, short on its feet. But that's not a bad thing. It's not a temporary, of course, a permanent thing, I should say. But like I said, it has been going on for quite a few months. But unbelievably, over the last, of course, few weeks or so, there has been various things all related to the theatre industry, and loads of production companies and, of course, theatre productions have been really adapting to this pandemic. And of course, with today's episode, this is no exception, because unbelievably, I have got the opportunity to go and see something like I never have seen before. This is the first ever time that I have seen a theatre show, not just during this pandemic, I should say, but also this is the first ever one that I'm going to experience, which is very different from what I'm normally used to seeing. But despite all that happening, it is going to be very, very special. And like I have just said, I will dress for the occasion. If you want to know what I am going to see, I'm actually going to see a production, of course, once again, a socially distanced production, and local production for that matter as well, which is going to be located in the Dean's Gardens in Ely, just off Ely Cathedral, and it's an adapted version of a very famous, of course, story that most of you might know, of course, that features a lot of pirates and also a lot of treasure involved. And for any of you who don't know what that is, it is, of course, Treasure Island. And the production I'm going to see is, of course, being taken place, once again, like I said, at the Dean's Gardens in Ely. But also, the theatre group that are putting on this production is one that I have reviewed many times before, since they have done so many Christmas pantomimes, and they are Arcady Theatre Productions.
Sail with us this Easter for a swashbuckling adventure on board the Jolly Roger. Join Jim Hawkins on his quest to find the buried treasure and rescue the island princess from the terrible Blackbeard and the Caribbean pirates. Featuring a professional cast, live band and lots of comedy, this is a must-see for all the family. Come into a venue near you this Easter.
Well, there you go, folks. There is, of course, a little teaser of a previous production. This is not the first time that KD Theatre Productions have put on a production of Treasure Island. The last time they'd done that was back in 2017 at the Maltings in Ely. But as you know, since, of course, the Maltings is currently closed during this pandemic, and the theatre group have resorted to a much more safer place, and like I said, they have actually performed at the Dean Gardens before in Ely, but the last time they'd done that was a year after, from 2017 and 2018, and they'd done an outdoor performance of the very famous musical version of the very famous fairy tale story of Peter Pan. And also, I've just actually got I think actually this will come in handy, just like, of course, sticking with the theme for pirates, I've actually printed out of course, a satellite view of where, of course, Dean's Gardens are. And as you can see, if you can just see it there is a red X. And as you do know, of course, on a pirate, of course, or of course on a treasure map, X marks the spot where the treasure lies. But of course, as well as treasure, that is of course the exact location of where, of course, the production of that is Treasure Island is going to be taking place. So, just before, because I know that this is going to be a little bit more different than your, of course, normal episode of Theatregoing because of what's been going on. But I do know that most of the people who are starring in this happen to be very good friends of mine who I've seen many times before. And unbelievably, an old friend of mine from when I was performing at Viva Arts, a community group in Soham, Cambridgeshire, I became very good friends with someone called Phil Evans. And he is the lucky person who's going to be playing the lead role of Jim Hawkins. And also you have the very famous double act of Terry Gauci, who of course is very well known for playing the pantomime dames in the Christmas pantomimes, as he's normally done for KD Theatre Productions over the last few years. And also he'll be joined by former radio DJ on Star Radio in Cambridge, who I have seen before, but I know you haven't seen him, of course, on my theatre blog series of Theatre Social Distancing. But he's been part of KD Theatre for quite a while, and he has been part of many productions, and that is Oliver James Scott, or known as OJ. That's how he used to be called on Star Radio back over a decade ago. He was retired now, as I've mentioned already. He was an ex-radio presenter, but he does specialise in performing, and he actually was on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire last week to promote the show, and it was brilliant to hear him, and he'll be playing the character of Amigo. I can't remember he had a weird like second name as his character, but he is I think one of the comedy characters in it. And also we've also got another great pairing of course, father and son, may I add, which I initially wanted to talk about over the last few years on here, and when they were part of a production called, that was I don't want to say Little Port, what was it? Oh yes, the Maltings Summer Spectacular, and that took place once again at the Maltings in Ely, and those are Sean Rollo Rollason and Tommy Jay Rollason. So of course, for any of you who don't know who they are, of course they're mostly well known for their stage names of Rollo and Tommy Jay. Rollo, of course, or Sean to be specific, he's a very famous comedian, and he's, of course, he's an entertainer. He's been performing all across the UK, and he's done loads of other, of course, pantomimes over the years with other theatre companies, not just with KD. But, and he's also worked with some of the biggest stars in show business, may I add. I mean, it's quite amazing that I've actually found out what he has done over the last few decades or so. And I'm so excited to seeing him again. And for Tommy J, of course, to let you know, is Sean's son, a younger son, and he trains in circus acts. He can ride the unicycle and also juggle as well. And I've seen some of the things he's done at such a young age. He's only a teenager, would you believe it or not, guys? and some of the things he's done is truly incredible. He's even juggled, I can't remember what they're called, what jugglers use, but he's even juggled them while they're on fire as well. But hopefully I don't think he will be doing that in this, of course, performance, since it's on grass, just in case if he makes a mistake. And but honestly, it's so exciting to see them, of course, be a part of one of their productions. And also, I think one of the biggest surprises that I have ever seen, I think that I certainly was not expecting this person to be involved, is that one of the two people that run KD Theatre Productions, as you do know, of course, Daniel Bell is one that I have met many times before, and of course I've been a very good friend of his over the years, but someone who, of course, has worked alongside him, and that is Katherine Hickmott, who I might have mentioned in my Christmas special from a few years ago when I saw the KD Theatre Productions Christmas pantomime of, I think it was Jack and the Beanstalk. There we go. It was so long ago I can even remember, but of course, like I said, Katherine is going to be playing a part also in this production, and she is going to be playing the role of Davina the Sea Witch. Yes, that's right. So I think she's playing the villain, actually, and this is not the first time that she's played a villain, believe it or not, guys. She has played the Wicked Witch of the West in a pantomime production of I think it was The Wizard of Oz. There we go. I've just remembered. And it was a touring production all across the UK, so but I'm really excited. They've just announced today that they're of course they've been announcing a load of pictures taken of the venue. I've already seen the set, and you will be seeing it later on in this episode as well, so but I'm really excited. Now, like I just wanted to clarify, since like I said, since this is a very different production to a normal theatre production, since it's socially distanced, how it's going to work is that we're going to see of course, because today is Saturday, of course, Saturday evening on the, I'm just trying to check my calendar, I think it's the 29th of August 2020. And how it's going to work, we're actually going to go to the venue. We'll actually have to go through another place to get to the gardens, the Dean Gardens in Ely, since they're just around the area of Ely Cathedral, and that is the Almany Tea Rooms, and of course there's a restaurant around there, but there is a path going to, of course, that place in Ely that leads us to where the Dean's Gardens are, and that's the location and of course the place where and the venue for the performance that we're going to go and see. But I have checked that they are taking it very seriously. We are, of course, myself, of course, I'm going to be wearing a face mask, and I'm going to, of course, sanitize my hands. My dad, John, is taking me as well, and we're going to be traveling there as well. And how it's also going to work, as you might see later on, if I manage to get some footage, is that we're, of course, going to be in a socially distanced pod. So we're away from other people. I mean, like, if I've not said already on other videos, guys, I have actually not stepped out this house for quite a while since the pandemic and lockdown has happened, but I am a bit nervous, may I add, for doing this, but I am taking this very seriously, because loads of people, a majority of people haven't been taking it as seriously. And I know a load of people have been infected by this virus, and also have even also paid for it and even losing their life. But luckily that's not going to happen with me, hopefully, and of course my dad. And we're going to be travelling down. Of course, we haven't got a ship, obviously sticking with the theme of course, of it being a pirate-themed, of course, production. But we are going by car, and you'll be seeing that very shortly. And yeah, of course, there will be some entertainment before the show, and there's only going to be one act in this production because of since it's socially distanced, because it's all done safely, and it will, of course, it will support and help all the people, and it will be the well-being of everyone who comes and sees the show. As I have just recently also heard, just currently, that a load of the productions that they have been doing over the last few days since this Wednesday, of course, a few days ago, have been very popular. They have been doing loads of matinee performances, including also a few evening ones, as of one that's just coming up, which we are going to be seeing tonight at 6 o'clock. and they've also they also just done one earlier on this morning at 11 o'clock as well. So and honestly, it's been very well received at the moment. But it's my turn to now see, of course, and review it, and see how KD Theatre Productions have coped with this pandemic. I mean, honestly, I know it's something they certainly was not expecting for them to happen and to deal with, but the way they've dealt with it is truly incredible. And to just get a glimpse and a taste of live theatre out of even though we're in this pandemic and being all safe and everything, it's quite special, and we're gonna take and embrace it with of course everything that we get our opportunities to seeing anything that is related to something that I absolutely love with an absolute passion, me being a performer myself. Well, anyway, I think it's time for me to stop rambling on, because we have got to go and see a show. So I'll be seeing you in a couple of minutes. Well, of course, I'll be on my way to the Dean's Gardens in Ely, Cambridgeshire, alongside with my dad, John Wright, and we'll be seeing a socially distanced production of, once again, Treasure Island. Once again, like I said, at the Dean's Gardens in Ely. And I'm really, really excited for it. But to, of course, take you to the next part of this vlog, here is a little taste of what the cast have been up to in rehearsals for the upcoming production, once again, of Treasure Island. if you were just watching right there, guys, that was a little teaser of what I was expecting when I went to see the socially distanced performance of Treasure Island by KD Theatre Productions. Now, I know this, of course, this cut in the video is a little bit abrupt, but there is a very important reason why there is that if you did just see that footage there when we were travelling down to go and see the show earlier on today, you saw that a lot of rain was falling, and of course it was pretty breezy as well. It was pretty windy conditions over the last few hours. And like I said, I know that it was quite glorious sunshine earlier on when I started this vlog, but earlier on, of course, this afternoon and going into this evening, the weather did change for the worst, and fortunately enough, the rain wasn't as heavy, but it was falling as drizzle, and it was falling quite lightly, but unfortunately, since of course I'm using a camcorder, and obviously using that in wet weather conditions, that can be very dangerous, so that's why I couldn't get much footage from seeing that production of, like I said, of Treasure Island by KD Theatre Productions. But despite all that, the show still went ahead unbelievably, and I got the chance to, of course, the show still went ahead despite the bad weather. And all I can say is that to everyone who was in the cast, who I mentioned briefly, a few people that I mentioned earlier on in this review, they've done an incredible job. The professionalism that they had, or they gave to that performance, despite the weather being very bad. Of course, I mean, thank God it didn't get even more extreme. I mean, God knows what would have happened. I think it would have been cancelled, the whole show. And I was very, very anxious going when, of course, the rain was falling earlier on. It's still raining at the moment. I know you can't see it because I've got my curtains closed here in my bedroom. But if you can just hear, the wind is still blowing quite strong outside, and it's still raining quite lightly still at the moment. But despite that, all those bad conditions, it was a fantastic show, and since of course I know this cut in the video was slightly abrupt, that gave me more time to basically tell you a bit of a more thorough, of course, or give you a thorough review to the show. So, like I said already, of course, the socially distanced production, I should say, of Treasure Island by KD Theatre Productions, once again at the Dean's Gardens in just off Ely Cathedral, was an amazing show. It only lasted, like I said, 1 hour and only one act because of, you know, the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic. But the cast was incredible. Even though there was only 6 members in the cast, they were all incredible. And like I said, I'd like to not just pick people out, but as a team all together and as a cast all together, they were all incredible. And what they did, despite, like I said already, the bad weather conditions, they put on an incredible show. And let me tell you something, even though it was quite cold for me sitting in my director's chair alongside my dad John, and even though fully in costume and even having an umbrella on for me, of course, to try and keep myself dry, it was still a fantastic show, and it was very heartwarming at the end with the last song that they sung, but I'll get to that very, very shortly. But anyway, let's focus on the people who were in the show, and I can vaguely remember from the top of my, of course, from my memory, the first person who opened the show was once again the former radio DJ for Star Radio in Cambridgeshire of Oliver James Scott, playing Amigo Gringo. He was very, very funny and very entertaining. He was very engaging to the audience. And let me tell you, I mean, the amount of energy he had, he was such an engaging performer to the audience. He really got, of course, the whole audience warmed up for not just the beginning, but as I said, he was a great warm-up person to get the audience, of course, all excited for the upcoming performance. And then throughout the show, he even though that he wanted to be a bad pirate, he did turn good in the end. Even though, funnily enough, it was quite nice that one of the features that was done in the show is that the audience could vote if they wanted his character to still be part alongside the other characters, which I'll mention very shortly, either by a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And funnily enough, he actually got a thumbs down when I saw it, but I actually gave him a thumbs up because I know him. I was actually thinking about not just his character, but what he is like in real life. And he was incredible, and a brilliant singer as well as acting, and I know that he couldn't do much dancing like the rest of the cast could do because of the conditions, but he was amazing. And I think if I could actually pick out other people that I thought were incredible, Terry Gauci, who played the role of Blackbeard, was absolutely hilarious. He was so funny. It was the very first time I even saw him play a villain, would you believe, in any performance that he's done previously with KD Theatre Productions. But he was so funny, and his Mexican accent for playing the role of Blackbeard was incredible. He made me laugh so much, and some of the references to alcohol which were featured in the show alongside Oliver were really funny. They referenced tequila a lot, which obviously, if you might know, that's also a very famous song. And even, may I add, even a joke that Joe Pasquale used to do on one of his very first stand-up shows that he done quite a while ago. I think next year will mark 25 years since he done that joke in a particular, his very first ever live show that he done as a stand-up comedian, and that was the show of Live and Squeaky. And if you may not remember, just for a laugh, here is, of course, that joke in full that even still makes me laugh to this very day, and you wouldn't believe what happened when he said it. You wouldn't expect it at all, but it was such a hilarious surprise for him and for the rest of the audience who were watching him when they saw his very first live stand-up show all the way back in 1996.
Okay, go for your gun, Malcolm. It sounds stupid. It's like, oh, you shot me, Kevin. Sorry, Nigel. It's ridiculous. Why did the Mexican throw his wife off the cliff? Tequila. Only one bloody minute. Who shouted tequila? I won't bloody have this on the video, okay, love? Don't think I won't hit you, because I will. I will come down and spank you so hard, love. I know what you're thinking, love. And don't you lean out of the way either. So many people are going to see you make a big div of yourself on this, aren't they? You're thinking to yourself, has he told 5 jokes? Or 6? Because I've got a joke that will take your head clean off of your shoulders. You could ask yourself a question there, love. Do you feel funny? I don't think you do. So,
Well, I know that was slightly off topic, guys, but I couldn't resist because it was one of the running gags that they said throughout the whole show, not just Terry's character, but also Oliver's character and a few of the others as well. But yeah, as I said, moving on, of course, like I said, Terry Gauci was so brilliant being Blackbeard. And also, like I mentioned earlier on, the great pairing of Sean Rollo Rollason and Tommy Jay Rollason, also known as Rollo and Tommy Jay. who's also juggling, they were absolutely brilliant. I can actually quickly tell you, actually, earlier on today, of course, this evening, when the performance happened, there was a gag where they actually used, well, basically, it was kind of like a custard pie gag, but they changed it to ice cream instead aboard the ship, of course, when they were waking up the pirates, when they were about to sail into Treasure Island, I should say. And one time where, when they sing a song and then Tommy J was supposed to get a pie in the face, when it got a bit more faster, the final part of the gag, when he went to pick up the last plate for the last part of the gag of him getting pied in the face, funny enough, since the song was sung a bit more faster, like I just said, he actually rushed very quickly to get a pie and get, of course, like the foam on the plate and everything, so it's all ready for him to get pied again. But funny enough, actually, as well as, of course, also Oliver being part of the gag as well, alongside Rollo as well, or Sean to be specific, he actually slipped up, believe it or not. He actually slipped on a bit of the grass when it was quite wet, and they broke character. It was such a unexpected moment, but it had me and my dad howling, and it was so hilarious. It's such a shame, like I said, I couldn't film it obviously because of copyright, and since of course the conditions were so bad, but looking back on that, and since I'm telling you about what happened on that very moment during the show, was very, very funny, and I'll never forget that moment, especially when it came to, as like I said, that part of the show of Treasure Island. But despite that unexpected blunder, they did both put on a fantastic show, and they were very also engaging to the audience. I mean, the talents that Tommy J had done, riding a unicycle and then also using clubs to juggle with, and then he also done the same with balls later on in the performance. There is no end to the limit of talent that he has, and believe it or not, I actually found out, like I mentioned earlier on in this review, when I first saw him at the Malting Summer Spectacular show from a few years ago, he also, believe it or not, learnt to use the unicycle, or started riding it, when he was only, I think, was it 9 years old, would you believe? And that seems crazy for him to be that young and to even start riding it, but it's incredible what he has done also as well since then, and to see him do what he does best, like what I did see earlier on today, or on this evening, it was truly incredible, and I would happily, I'll never ever I don't think I would ever lose interest on how amazing he is as a performer, and being, of course, incredibly expertly and professionally trained in circus acts, and honestly, he was definitely another incredible performer in the show. So, moving on to the last two performers that were in the cast of 6 that were part, once again, of the socially distant production of Treasure Island from KD Theatre Productions. We move on to a very old friend of mine, which I have seen before, and his name was Philip Evans, who played the role of Jim Hawkins. And if I've not said already, he, of course, I have seen him before, but as a performer, to finally see him in something that, instead of a variety, of course, performance that he done, which he also was part of the very same show that Rollo, of course, Sean, and also Tommy J were part of over a few years ago. For the lead role of Jim Hawkins, like I said, played by Philip, he was amazing. He was such a great actor. He was a brilliant singer, and he'd done some very impressive dance moves. I honestly didn't think he was going to, show off as much, but he was quite, he was well behaved of knowing of what to do, even though because of how bad the weather was. But he done another superb job playing that lead role, and he was a very entertaining performer to watch as well. And like I said, I mean, since I've said already, he's an old friend of mine who I've grew up with and also performed alongside when, like I mentioned before, when I performed with him at Viva Arts and Community Group in Cambridgeshire. And we go to the final person who I think really stood out, I think, from the rest of them. I know, like I said, I'm a big supporter, like I said, of Terry Gauci, and like I said, with Sean and Tommy, and also Phil, and also Oliver as well. But the person I think who really stole the show was also, as well as, of course, it was not just Terry Gauci that played the villain of Blackbeard, but he was also accompanied by a sidekick, as well as, of course, Amigo Gringo, played by Oliver James Scott, and that was Katherine Hickmott, playing the role of Davina the Sea Witch, like I mentioned earlier on. And from the very first time, I never have ever seen her perform on stage before, even playing a villain role. And let me tell you something, acting-wise, she was incredible. Singing-wise, she had an amazing voice as well. And I know she didn't do much dancing, but when she danced along with the rest of the cast at the end in the final song, which, believe it or not, was an amazing cover of the famous song, of course, by the amazing, legendary double act of, I'm trying to remember the name, was it Eric Morecambe and Ernie Wise, of Bring Me Sunshine, Bring Me Love. It just topped off the performance so beautifully, and it warmed my cold heart because of how cold I was from all the wind and rain that we coped with during the performance. But despite all that, the cast as a whole was truly amazing, and they done a fantastic job. Honestly, I mean, to be fair, like I said, this is a show that I never thought was going to happen, especially because of how bad the weather has been today. But despite all that, and against all odds, they put on an incredible professional performance. And let me tell you something, I never thought it would ever happen, but they have brought back live theatre like it should have been, all, of course, all before this coronavirus pandemic. And let me tell you something, I would admit, I did get a little bit emotional at the end, as also in a way to support all of the people that have been working on vaccines and, of course, treating people with the virus, all the care workers and all the key workers in particular that work for the NHS. They did also put out cards and show them to the audience at the end, and it was such a wonderful little addition to the end of the performance. And I think, without a doubt, I think that was very, very thoughtful of all of them to do that, because, like I said, with this pandemic going on, they are the main people that have worked hard than any other people in the world at the moment in our country, and we have them to thank, as we have done over the last few months. Like I have said before, me, of course, doing the coronavirus lockdown sing-along 2020 performances of that I've done every week. Of course, initially that I done for when the Clap for the NHS first started, but since it was so popular and so many people have really loved me performing every single week, that's what made me start it up in the first place. But I know that was slightly off topic, but before I end off this review, I would just like to say to all of the performers, all the people, all my good friends, like I said, at KD Theatre Productions, like I said already, to Terry Gauci, to Katherine Hickmott, Sean Rollo Rollason, Tommy Jay Rollason, Phil Evans, and Oliver James Scott, all of you guys, thank you so much for putting on an incredible show, and also thank you so much for letting me have a photo with you guys at the end. I mean, I know also, believe it or not, to everyone else watching, the brand new elected mayor of Ely was also there, because just recently the previous mayor, who, believe it or not, I know very well, he was also part of Viva, Michael Rouse, he just retired recently. And the new, like I said, the new elected mayor of Ely, I can't remember her name, but it was a woman from what I remember. She was also there at the final show, and it was nice to see her, as well as I mean, loads of people braved the of course the very unpredictable conditions that we, of course, had to endure through just a few hours ago when we saw the show. But to all of you, of course, who were part of the show, you've done a superb job. And let me tell you, Katherine, you are so brave for performing in a very, well, I wouldn't say a skinly clad outfit, but for you having like a crop dress, of course, you know, showing off your shoulders and arms, you know, and, you know, basically showing your skin, and even doing that, of course, in very cold conditions. I mean, you are an absolute trooper for doing that, and I never thought that you would cope with it, but you powered through like the performer you are. And I mean, the professionalism, not just from you, but from all of you involved in the show. You are all absolute stars. You really are. You're legends, I should say. I mean, I don't think there's no other word to describe you more than like I just said there, because of what you have done during something that I certainly was not expecting, even just from just a few weeks ago when we've had a few storms over the last 2 weeks or so, with Storm Ellen and Storm Francis here in the UK. I mean, it's truly incredible, and for them being remnants of 2 tropical storms that have came from America, I mean, that is just crazy. And I know, funnily enough, guys, also, that I actually, with one of my recent performances on my coronavirus lockdown sing-along 2020, one of the previous performances that I wanted to do, the weather wasn't as bad, but I really wanted to prove, despite the bad weather, that I could still put on a good performance. It went all right, but like of course, unfortunately, it didn't reach the of course the demand or regard that I had for it, and but it will, of course, I will be doing it again. And but of course, more on that very shortly. But anyway, that of course is the wrap up of this review, of course, of the show. And as always, I know it's been a long time since I've done this, and now I have to give my rating for the show. And I think, like I said already, despite of course the bad conditions and it only being a lot more shorter, just by 1 hour and just being one act, for the first ever time, and an experience I'll totally never forget, and an incredible cast, and all the amazing people that, of course, worked on the production, and especially to the people that were able to let KD Theatre Productions perform in, of course, the Dean's Garden, just off Ely Cathedral. I mean, honestly, they don't get as much credit as I think they do, honestly. They are very you know, generous to be able to let the KD Theatre Productions do their socially distanced production. It was, like I said, I know it was a theatre production. I was certainly not expecting, for one, I wouldn't say all the wrong reasons, but of course for one, that not expecting it to be in, of course, bad weather, and also, like I said, socially distanced. But despite all that, for my rating of the socially distanced performance, of course, production of that is Treasure Island by KD Theatre Productions, I give this review, of course, I give this show, I should say, and of course I review this show, I give it a 5 stars and first class rating overall. And honestly, guys, once again to all of the performers of the show, you are absolutely amazing, and if that show is anything to go by, as soon as this pandemic blows over, hopefully towards the end of the year and going into next year in 2021, I'm so looking forward to coming to support all the other future productions that I have done, of course, reviews on here before, my theatre blog series, and I'm so looking forward to seeing them. So with that, we have came to the end of this very unusual edition of Theatregoing, and we have to, of course, pull the curtain down on another show of on my theatre blog series. And like I said, of course, I know that this is a one-off, since, of course, it's because of what's been going on recently with the coronavirus pandemic. This edition of Theatre Social Distancing is almost coming to an end, But I am so happy to be back doing this. I know it feels like ages since I've done this, and I know that I've had a massive upgrade to all of the equipment that I use to get these episodes out for you, for all you people watching. And I know it was a little bit rough, and I know that it's been a long time since I have done one of these episodes. But they will get better, guys. I promise you that. Honestly, I know this was an episode that you certainly weren't expecting, and it was very I wouldn't just say unusual, but it was also, I think, one that was kind of unexpected as well, I think, for that matter as well. And well, I mean, there's no other words I can say, really, to be fair. I mean, but the most important thing I should say is that live theatre is definitely back here in East Cambridgeshire, and I want to still, I just want it to, may it long last continue, hopefully. And of course, even though that a pandemic is still going on, that hasn't stopped a local theatre group like KD Theatre Productions to putting on an incredible show. And I'll never forget this performance, honestly. And as I said, I've had a real lot of fun, not just going to see it, but to review the show, of course, as a whole. And just to see my good old performer friends again, like for the first time since I think over a year ago, since the last time I saw them in their Christmas pantomime production of Jack and the Beanstalk. I mean, it just seems very unusual. And I know I did also do one of their one of their pantomimes that they done last year of Dick Whittington, but unfortunately I didn't get enough footage for that one, so I did call that off. And as of currently, I have heard that they were planning to do another pantomime of for this year as well, for Christmas, from KD Theatre Productions, and that was going to be Sleeping Beauty. But as of currently, at the moment, with the theatre industry struggling, of course, because of this pandemic, I don't think it will be going ahead. But there is one particular performance that is going ahead, because since KD Theatre Productions are not just based here in, of course, Ely and so on, they have gone on to expand all across the UK. And they are planning to perform in Harlow later on, of course, when it comes around to Christmas. But there will be more information on that if any of you want to keep up all the latest on the upcoming performances that the theatre group are going to be doing. All you need to do is visit their official website, which is just down below, of course, below me, which is www.kdtheatre.co.uk, and you'll find all the upcoming, of course, shows that they'll be doing, and all the latest news on upcoming productions coming up, like I said, until the remainder of this year, and hopefully going into next year in 2021. So now, sadly, we have came to the end of this very, of course, unexpected edition of Theatre Social Distancing. Despite, of course, what's been going on, I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure that all of you out there are happy for the return of live theatre here in East Cambridgeshire. And if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, comment down below for your thoughts on this review, and if you have also gone and seen the show yourself. And also let me know of if you are, of course, if you're happy to see me back doing this theatre blog series. I mean, I know it's my baby, and I know I have been doing it for quite a few years, but I might be planning to change it up a bit, hopefully, when theatres start to reopen in the future. And Theatregoing will continue, honestly, it really will, guys, and of course it will be a vast improvement to the early episodes that I've done. I mean, let me tell you, I mean, looking back, of course, during, of course, when this pandemic happened and when the lockdown first started, I actually recently started looking back on some of the old episodes or reviews that I'd done, and let me tell you, they weren't the best, but I have, over the last few years, improved them, and this is where, of course, they'll start to get a lot more better, and they'll become a lot more crisp and a bit more more informative and more entertaining, hopefully, for all you guys. I know this is only just a little taste of the future with this episode now, since this was an episode that I think I certainly was not expecting to do, and I'm so grateful that I've done it, and it will return, but as of currently, it is going to be put on hold at the moment, my theatre blog series of Theatregoing. But loads of other things are in the works during this pandemic, since I've got a brand new laptop just recently. And but honestly, it will return. Honestly, this is not the end of Theatregoing. Like, of course, with many musical productions that have happened over many years in the world of theatre, they always do come back, and they do have revivals, and that's what I'm hoping to do in the future with this. So don't worry, of course, Theatregoing will return in the future, but for the moment it's going to be put on hold. But I hope you have enjoyed this one-off edition of Theatre Social Distancing, and as always, and I hope you all keep safe out there, since of course this pandemic is still going on. Like I would say now to all of the videos that you'll be seeing up on my official YouTube channel in the future, remember to stay at home as much as possible, maintain social distancing of up to 2 meters apart when you're meeting people, continue to wash your hands regularly, and also, most importantly, wear a face mask when you're in public places. I know that I was planning to wear one earlier on today, but since of course the weather wasn't as bad, and since I was socially distanced from other people that also went to see the show, I was actually okay, believe it or not, which is quite a relief. So but I hope you all, of course, are looking after yourselves out there, and I know we will get through this. Like I've said before, this virus won't be beaten, and I promise you that. I want to keep that positivity and, of course, inspire all of you to do things during this pandemic that I think, let me tell you something, I have been so productive over the last few weeks, but during, of course, this pandemic happening. And it is quite a surprise for me, especially. I mean, I know it's been a while since I have performed in any show, but with, like I said, me coronavirus lockdown sing-along 2020 still going on, I am planning to do it again, like I said already, next week at 8 o'clock on Friday. But since we're moving into autumn, I can actually just say this before I end the video here, that since we're, like I said, going into autumn and of course into another season, and the days are starting to get darker and shorter, I might plan to move uploading these performances that I'm doing over the next few weeks or so, to either moving them to an earlier time in the afternoon to perform them, or maybe even performing them a lot more later in the week, maybe at the weekends. But it's only just an idea, but if you want me to still continue to do them, I know loads of you have been enjoying them, and I know that I've had a lot of fun doing them every single week with various themes and musicals or songs that I've been doing for the last 13 weeks or so. And I want to keep going until hopefully this pandemic is over. I know I've mentioned that so many times, but I hope that it will continue until, as like I said, this pandemic is over. And yeah, as I said, it can only happen if you guys want me to still continue doing it. So once again, to everyone watching, remember to stay alert, control the virus, and stay safe. We will get through this, and until once again next time, of course, whenever that will be, for another episode of my theatre blog series of Theatregoing, au revoir, adios, or wiedersehen. Until then, see you very, very soon, when hopefully my theatre blog series of Theatregoing will return in the future. But for now, it is all over, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon in the future. Until then, like I said, thank you very much for watching, and then once again I'll see you very, very soon. Farewell, and goodbye everyone.
Yo-ho, yo-hee-hee, a pirate gang is the life for me. Yo-ho, yo-hee-hee. setting sail for the seven seas. The pirate gang hunts for treasure, gold and silver is our pleasure. Check the map, X marks the spot. Better get digging, what have we got? Dig, dig, dig in the sand. Dig all day with a pirate band. Dig, 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 dig. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee. A pirate gang is the life for me. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee. Setting sail for the seven seas. The pirate gang loves the ocean wide. So turn the wheel as the waves we ride. Round, round, give it a spin. Look, a storm is coming in. Up and down, we can hardly stand. We just can't wait till we reach dry land. Land ahoy!
Yo-ho-ho!
Land ahoy!
Yo-ho-ho!
Land ahoy!
Yo-ho-ho!
Land ahoy!
Yo-ho-ho!
Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee. A pirate gang is the life for me. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee. Setting sail for the seven seas. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee. A pirate gang is the life for me. Yo, ho, yo, hee, hee. Setting sail for the seven seas. Setting sail for the seven seas. Setting sail for the seven seas.
Stay alert. Control the virus. Stay safe. From everyone at Jackpot Button Lewis Productions.